Hello, Rising World fans. We are back. Lots and lots of stuff is happening. You'll notice down on the ground here we have an oval, sort of. This is representing the oval drive that is in front of the actual Wollaton Hall. I have got the tower topper embellishments put up there. We've installed some outdoor lighting around the top of the building, at least on the front and the back and in the towers. So those tower toppers now light up a bit. I will still remove probably these light posts that are down here. I don't think they're adding anything to the equation. I may come up with something different to light up the front. I also have been messing around with the landscape a little bit. I've cleared it out. We'll be able to see this when the sun comes up. In fact, we can make the sun come up. I played around with an idea that I have. I would like to get some feedback if possible. These are the new natural textures that we can use in the game and apply to blocks, or in creative mode you can apply them to wood beams or planks. And something that bothers me a lot about this game is the stair-steppy effect that we get with the ground when it is sloping. And unfortunately the textures that we got, let me turn the light on here so you can see more clearly. The textures that we got do not match their same textures in the texture pack that is inherent in the surfaces of the ground. So a gravel texture that is applied to the ground is this lighter color, and the gravel texture when applied to a block or a plank or a beam is this darker texture. It's the same texture, although it seems to be a little bit smaller, and it is also darker. So that's kind of a problem. And then the grass is exactly the same issue. But the reason I was experimenting with this, and this is not where these go, but the reason I was experimenting with this is that when you change levels, you know, you get that hump, that nearly 45-degree hump. Even when you use a rake or something to try and level it out or use the smoothing tool, it just never looks natural. So I thought if we were building roads or trails, for example, we could perhaps use beams or planks in areas where we wanted a lesser slope. This is a 3-degree slope. So it's very gradual. It is a much more natural kind of slope, but it doesn't match the texture of the natural ground. Now, I don't know if you can apply a ground texture over top of this. I'm going to just check real quick and see. I am in creative mode. So let's try number 3, paint. And let's go back to our gravel and see if we can put gravel texture over this. No, we cannot. So I just clicked there and it did nothing. So you can put it over the ground. As you can see there, it increased that, but you can't put it over the planks. So that's that. Yeah, so I just was wondering if you think, well, maybe, you know, maybe for graded roads or something like that, this would work in places where we need to go up a grade, but not at a 45-degree angle, which would be like impossible. Or maybe it's 15 degrees. Either way, it's a lot. So, I mean, a 15-degree grade, if we go with this, let's bring it out. And let's make it horizontal and turn it on this edge so we can see. And that should be horizontal. Let's just double check here. Put it up against the wall. Okay, that is horizontal. Now, if we go with a 15 degree, one click under the default is, that's a 15 degree. Now that would be quite a grade if you were driving a car. That would be a serious hill. And, maybe it's not so bad if it's that long, but, in the case of, let's just see what degree this is. This is a smoothed out bump. So it's been smoothed out. It's not a vertical bump. But it is more than 15 degrees. It's more like 30. That's 30 degrees. So I just think that having these 30-degree bumps or more is kind of a problematic thing. I just do not like it. So there you go. But let me give you a quick tour. So here we have our toppers all the way around. We got our railings on. And some lighting. If I turn off the lights, you can see it's fairly dramatic. And I'm getting kind of pleased with how that's looking. The other thing that I did, as you can see, I will, when the sun comes up, we'll talk about this. I leveled the ground. I didn't flatten it totally, but I leveled the ground around the house because there is an expansive lawn. This lawn is probably about half the size in scale to what it really is. And I'm going to put up a picture that shows the scale of the lawns. But what I did in the meantime was I added this wrought iron railing that is around this first set of stairs, and we need to put in our French doors. I put in 3 openings here, which is consistent with what is actually there, and I put in some columns in the centers, which is actually what is there. I put in grills. When I looked closer at a picture of these openings, they aren't iron grills, they are dark wooden doors. I think I'm going to stick with the grills, only because inside the building in the basement, those are the servants' rooms, and this gives them a little bit of natural light. So we're going to keep that. I started building the stairs just so that I could get the dimensions and the approximate way that they're going to look. Unfortunately, the stairs in real life are shallower, and so they stick out further. The steps are deeper and shallower, and so they stick out further. They're a little bit more massive in the real building, but I think this will do. So we've done the first one. We're going to do the second one. We can do that right now, actually, while it's still dark. And then we need to put the railings on the stairs and the terrace here. I do think I have to take off this top beam and reapply it in a different way, because when I went up here, having that beam go across the top step, I could not step up. It would not let me step up. Just that extra couple of inches there. It didn't like that. So I have to figure out a better way that it's not going to object to. I think probably putting a plank across the top step and just making this beam shorter on either side of the steps will be fine. So yeah, that's what we did. And I put this dry dirt gravel mix down for the pathways because it is this color. They are dirt pathways or clay pathways. They are not gray gravel. The front with the gray gravel, I think, is fine. It sort of matches the asphalt that's out there today. But yeah, I think this is okay. It's not perfect by any means, but I think it's okay. So we could go ahead and build these structures, and I did go ahead and do this because I wanted to get the size right. And let me just quickly go in here and measure out how many blocks we need. So I need this block, and I want to measure out 7 by 6, and then I believe these are 3 blocks wide. Okay, so 7 by, let's see, yeah, 3, 4. This one is 4 blocks wide. 4 blocks wide coming out and 3 blocks wide once you make the turn. I guess we could actually add another step here and make them 4 by 4, but I don't think it matters that much really. So that is 1 block, roughly 1 block from the column going up. So we're going to mirror that on this side. Appears to be the right size. So now I just need to put this one down here, but then I need to sink it into the ground a little bit. So we'll hit Control, go over here, and use page down to get it in the right spot, right there. Okay, so that's our bottom step. And now then we can just put them across here, and it is the same height as the bottom step of the gray, or the bottom step of the first course. And I don't think, yes, you can pull them together. So I just used the minus key to pull all those together, and I'm using the holding the left key to just put them all down at once. So there you go. Simple as that. That was quick and easy. So we'll fix this up later. So now I just want to give you a quick look at what I'm working on here. So right about here, I will put up a picture, an overhead view of the grounds from Google Maps. And you will see that in the backyard, which is this yard, the south side, there is a pool here. Not a pool, but a pond. In this particular version of the Google map that I am looking at, there is nothing in it. And it seems like they may be doing some rebuilding or landscaping or something, because I do see like scaffolding on the building itself and things going on that weren't there when I visited. There is, when I visited, there is a little platform in the center, which I suspect once contained a small fountain. I'm going to try and replicate that in some way or another. And so this is what I've started on. I built a tile surround, which I'm going to try and put in here. I don't know if that's going to work, but we're going to try that. So on screen, you're going to be seeing the overhead view, and what you will see is that the lawns go out around the house, quite a bit bigger than what I'm doing here, but I am restricted by the topography of what we have. So this would be the back lawn. Right here where this dirt patch is a rather strangely shaped greenhouse, which contains camellia trees and bushes. We're going to put on orange and lemon, or rather lemon trees, because we don't have orange trees. We're going to put lemon trees and flowers inside the greenhouse. And the greenhouse will be on an angle, kitty corner like this, so I can't build it out of blocks. It will be built out of beams and glass panels, and it will be kitty corner. So it will be on roughly a 45-degree from the house in this particular spot. Then I went ahead and made walkways all the way around the house, just as they are shown in that picture. On this side of the house, which is the west side, there is an extension which on the ground floor, which is the servants' quarters and more service areas. I decided in the long run not to build that extension because this building is just way bigger than I ever imagined, and it's going to take me a very long time to complete. So I decided to opt out of doing that. The other thing that I did was to just go ahead and rough in, at least color-wise, rough in some trails, which I did intend to put down here, and all I did was paint the dirt. I didn't do any smoothing, so that would be the next step, is to take a rake or something and do smoothing of these trails down to the lake side. So I did that. And then over on the front side, I also completed a trail down to the water. And my vision down here is to build a little, just a little like fishing village on the shores of the lake. Maybe out in here, probably not over in there. I've envisioned that smaller lake over there as being more of a private picnic area for the family. So this would be the sort of the edge of the fishing village, and it would go off this direction. When it's clear, you can see that there is a much bigger lake on the other side of a little like island or peninsula, and then there is a strip of land that separates, and I'm thinking about opening up that strip of land and making like a canal or a narrow channel that connects the two lakes. I think that would be cool. Hello, cow. And so over here, we have the oval drive that comes up in the front of the house. This was actually pretty difficult to do. The actual oval drive is on a slope, so it slopes away from the house. I couldn't do that because of the aforementioned stair-step effect. It just wouldn't work. So the drive here is flat, but then there will be a sloping road, hence my experimentation with the slope here. A sloping road that goes off in this direction, and it is lined by trees, so we will have a tree-lined avenue. It actually goes off, in the real building it goes off in that direction, but we couldn't do that because there's a lake there. So we're going to go off in this direction, and it'll be a tree-lined avenue that you can look down from the house. In fact, I'm kind of toying with the idea of having it come straight out, and then maybe curving this direction. I don't know, but there will be a tree-lined avenue that goes down into the countryside and just peters out somewhere. So yeah, that's a basic overview of the grounds. The one thing that I'm unsure of right now is that on the in the real grounds, on the other side of this greenhouse, there are some formal gardens, and I will point them out. They are they're shaped, and they have flower beds that are in strange shapes, and there's like a trail that goes out between them. They're very formal looking, but they're out here, and that just seemed weird to me to have the formal gardens that far away from the house. In real life right now, they're overlooking a golf course. We're not going to have a golf course. So I'm toying with the idea of putting the formal gardens either on this side of the house or on this side of the house. There are numerous tree plantings along this area on both sides of this path and going down the hill. And I think that's very cool. They're specimen gardens. They have many different kinds of trees and flowers and plants. And the borders here that look very strange, or the pathways that look strange, those will all be disguised with some small plantings of different kinds of plants, whatever we have in the game that we can use to just kind of dress this up. But I'm toying with the idea of putting the formal gardens maybe out here. It's just kind of a lawn with trees on it right now. Then the trees kind of go off in this direction. So there would be trees in front of all of the view of the lake, which I'm not sure is a great idea. Maybe down here, but maybe not over here, other than just a few trees. I don't like the idea of cutting off the view of the lake when we can indeed see the view. So there's that. So now what I was doing is I used the landscape tools to make this depression, and I can show you exactly how I did it because I think that might be useful. I'm not sure. So what I did was I pressed F5 to get the landscape tools, and you can see it's already sized. I used a round brush. So number 1, add and subtract, and then I hit enter to get the grid. And originally I had this a little deeper, so if you hit page down, the grid goes down under that. And if I hit if I right click, you'll see it makes it deeper. I decided that was too deep, so I'm going to page up and then left click, and it brings it back up where I want it. So that is the bottom of the pond. Okay, so I figured out the size that I need for my pond liner. In case I have edited incorrectly, we are putting in a pond here with a tiled edge. It is roughly 12 blocks in diameter. And so I've got my staging area over here. I did figure out that what I needed was 10 degrees. So a 10-degree rotation on the spokes. And these spokes are as long as they can be. So I am just making these spokes longer because they cannot be any longer than, I guess, the length of the beam at its full length is 6 blocks. And they really need to be twice that length, roughly, when the extension is added. Obviously, that is not what we needed. Okay, and now we're going to add the extenders. So we need the grid to back off a little bit. And it needs to be a block in width, or in length, rather. Yeah, I'm going to say that's exactly right. Rand tile. See, there's the first one I tried, number 6. Number 19 comes in last, but it will reorganize itself next time I start. So we're going to use this. There it is. It looks to be just about the right size. We almost need to now make the hole just a little bit bigger. Dang it. There is just no winning. Is that it? Are we completely full? I can't really see it very well. No, we're not. All right. Well, that looks pretty uniform. So, the next step is to fill in my holes. Oops. Oopsie. And the only way I can do that, because this this dirt soil, dry dirt is what they call it. The dry dirt is not available to us as a block or as an item or anything like that. So the only way to do this is with these tools. We go with one. That should do it. And turn on the grid. And I don't want grass, I want dirt. See, that is a problem. Dang it. Maybe if I switch to this tool, yes, that's a little better. Still not perfect, but it's a little better. Did it get inside? No. Oh, it did get inside a little bit. Might not be anything I could do about that. Any other holes? Yeah, that's probably about as close to perfectly as I can get. And it might be okay. I can always put another layer of blocks on this, or maybe a smaller, skinnier block. An outer edge, perhaps, of a different color. That might work. Like a brick edge or something. That might work. I'll think about that. But now we want to try getting some, now I don't see that little piece of sand or dirt. Oh, you can see it if you get close. You can't see it if you back up. I'm not going to worry about that. So yeah, in the very center there is a round pedestal thing that a fountain sits on. So I was thinking I would do it with, it's kind of hard to tell where the center is, but it's right in there somewhere. Again, having a grid would certainly be helpful. There's that, 9.5, 9, 10 blocks, so 5 blocks. And yeah, so right about there is the center. It's fairly good sized. It actually has stuff growing on the top of it, or it did have when I saw it. So I was thinking maybe I would throw, the planters, you can't plant, the planter buckets, you can't actually plant anything in, can you? Now then, 5, we're going to go with number 5, the water tool. I'm going to go with the round. It's really hard to tell. I guess this aligns with a grid of some sort. So I'm going page up Okay, that's outside the, and that's clearly below the level, but how below? How much below? That's way below. Let's go with that. How can you tell if you've done it? Oh, I right-clicked. I guess you have to left-click. Did I do it? I did. All right, so let's set ourselves down. Oh, yeah. How awesome is that? I think that's pretty awesome. Smaller. I just want to see if I can level out this dirt. That was clearly not the way. I guess there is just not a way to do it with that kind of fidelity. Well, what do you think? If we have a pond with a thing in it. Now figuring out how to make a fountain out of that is going to be tricky. But so far, I'm kind of liking that. Okay, well, that's what we got done today. So we did the tour of the grounds, which will be landscaped in another episode. So we'll be adding plants and bushes and trees and trying to make these walkways look better. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. Maybe with a border, and we'll be figuring out how to do a fountain. It won't be with real water. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.